Welcome to episode 3 of Concept Check, the weekly show where we discuss certain ideas and how they relate to eSports. Last week we took a break for DreamHack Summer, and before then we spoke about intrinsic motivation, and this week we'll be taking a look at the passion in eSports and what that means. My name is Shay, and I will be your host. As I am traveling abroad, I'd like to apologize for any sound issues and minimalism that may occur in the following couple episodes. This week's episode will not be focusing on any one particular game, as it applies equally to all eSports titles, and in much the same way. While each community has developed its own particular brand of passion and have their own hang-ups, a big point we're going to make is that our love for esports and our chosen game should bring us closer together instead of further apart. In lieu of the usual links to specific games, this week we have a title screen with all the aspects of passion. Annotations on the screen and hyperlinks in the description will take you there. In the simplest terms, passion is a combination of two different forces, love and motivation. Passion is a love or longing that is so strong that it motivates people into action over their passion. The motivation born out of love can manifest as enthusiasm, desire, or frustration. For instance, being passionate about a partner carries with it the intention to act on this passion in one form or another. We define this term because with many words in esports, passion has been used and overused to the point of losing all meaning. It's a complement for proper casting and an excuse given for retirement. Critics criticize passionate fans for their outbursts, but we all rally behind the idea and form a sense of community over it. In esports, passion is the guiding principle through which we all find each other interacting. It is the a priori or pre-existing component to all our interactions. Coming into the community, we all play with the assumption that everyone there is either passionate about the game or willing to become so. The sense of camaraderie over such a strong shared emotion is what allows esports communities to be so tight-knit and lasting. Now that we've taken a cursory overview, let's break down the specifics of passion and how they play a role in our lives as esports enthusiasts. Love for the game. The simplest idea of passion is rooted in the idea of simply loving the game that we all chose to play. It is the most fundamental reason that we all started playing. Someone suggested that we try a specific game, and we appreciated the mechanics and the gameplay. We liked the game for what it was, without needing any of the other elements that we will get to. This is a necessary starting point for all of our passions, but often, simply enjoying a game is not enough to develop a passion for it. I enjoy and appreciate many games, but I feel no motivation to know everything that I can about it, or to be intimately involved with the game and its future. I have such a relationship with the Far Cry series. While I've enjoyed my times with most of the games tremendously, and come back to them occasionally, don't have any feelings that tell me to know everything I can about the game or its surrounding landscape. However, with many esports, I do. Looking back to last week's discussions on intrinsic motivation, we can say that passion is a part love and part intrinsic motivation. We all want to play the game because we love it, and we want to improve because it gives us a sense of progression, as though we're getting something for all of our investment. This will be discussed further in the sunk cost fallacy episode. Now, building a passion out of an appreciation or a fancy for a game is much easier if that game is an esport. There are several reasons to this, but the biggest one is that our investment usually has a very tangible end goal. We have elos that mark our status in the game, and we can see where we stand and how much we're improving. As soon as we start looking towards the heroes of our passions, the people who have made this their career, we get fed to the community and wish fulfillment aspects of the game. Esports live and die off of their community's passion. Brood War was a game that had a 14-year-long lifespan only because people kept playing it competitively. StarCraft 2 has a fan base so dedicated to the sport that we have an approximately 30% conversion rate, keeping us in the highest echelon of esports despite being played only by a relatively few people compared to other games. Similarly, games that are infinitely more popular than even League of Legends, such as Candy Crush or Flappy Bird, which makes approximately $50,000 a day when it bursts, have very little associated passion. While these games are fun diversions, they lack substantial depth to keep people motivated to play them. While we'll talk about this further in our depth and complexity episode, the simplification of the reason that esports titles are so beloved is that there are nearly endless depth to them. Each individual element of the game has seemingly endless possibilities, which drives forward player involvement and the motivation towards mastery is born. Community. We've just touched upon the idea of community above, and its most important component to solidifying and expanding on personal passion for an esport. Community refers not only to the people that talk about the game in forums, but to the tournament watchers, the casual non-players, and the professionals themselves, the tournament organizers, and anybody else that opens a dialogue about the esport. The reason that community is the cornerstone of passion is because it, in and of itself, has built out of passion. People like a game and appreciate its mechanics, start talking about it, and continue to build up a core group of people that will continue to play the game, not only because they enjoy the game, but also because they enjoy spending time with each other. The building of a community creates feeling of mutual and shared camaraderie, and it is within any group a common interest. The knitting grows tighter and raises importance of the interest because it is cornerstone of relationships. As a community is created, people start sharing thoughts on the game, strategies, and eventually move on to topics that are not necessarily related to the game, but refer to the community in and of itself. Perhaps somebody shows artwork or makes song about the game, or host a tournament. As conversations become more centered around the community and less about the mechanics of the game, passion becomes solidified and the community develops a strong archetypical personality based off of the tone and atmosphere of these meta-community posts. To find examples, one need look no further than the way that esports titles interact with each other. StarCraft 2 has a community that is extremely insecure about StarCraft 2's fall from being the biggest esport, and this reflects in general negativity and pessimism very often found on the forum. This very episode is inspired by a Dota 2 fan's elitism about comparing Dota 2 and League of Legends. As the community-wide personalities grow, more room is afforded to champions of any particular community to rise up and create something stable and meaningful in terms of content. Day9, Husky, Trump, etc. made something with their passion and exploited the motivational aspect of the community passion to follow them. Their content provided even more meta-community content and the cycle expanded. Tournaments and professional players function in much the same way. Because we love these extremely competitive games, we naturally want to see very limits of what can be accomplished in them. We tune into tournaments and become invested in the players, casters, and organizations hosting them. It festers and creates even more content that is community driven. We've explored the idea that loving these games motivates us to connect with other people who love the game, and together we are fueled to creating content and meta content, which builds on itself and creates a thriving population. The population takes upon itself attitudes and personalities, and important people rise up, in which turn gain fan bases of their own. Often these fan bases are extremely loyal to the person, even if passion for the game passes. The fans might remain. For example, how many of Day9's followers actively play StarCraft 2 to this day? Now that we've explored community branding and building up passion that started from the game, let's explore why esports titles have more passionate, thriving communities than other games or other forms of media. To illustrate this, let's compare the subs for Game of Thrones, which is 400,000, and League of Legends, 500,000. Game of Thrones is extremely active for about 10 weeks of the year, and the submitted content during those weeks focuses highly on the actual content of the show. Gifts of fun moments and comparisons from the book to the movie are rife. Looking at League of Legends, however, 6 or 7 of the top 10 submissions are focused on things other than the game mechanic. Many of them focus on community content or content creators and thrives all year long, even in the off season. But why? 2 driving reasons to the increased passion in esports and wish fulfillment and competition. Please note that these applies for physical sports as well. Wish fulfillment is the idea that given enough time, patience, practice, or fairies, you could be as good as the best players in the world at your preferred esport. If you put in the effort and are motivated enough, you can get there too. This does a huge amount for building up passion in people. Just as in sports, people are passionate about esports all start on an even playing field, with only their ambitions to hold them back from being the best in the world. Day9 once said that the reason he loved StarCraft Brood War was because of how entirely unarbitrary it was, i.e. it is entirely up to you to win or lose the game. That sort of pressure and competition and knowledge that you only are held back by your own motivation is a huge reason why passion in a game and investment in a community continues to grow and fester over time. This, along with the legitimization of esports at the hands of the community, give quite a bit of onus and weight to being a fan. It is because of the community that esports even exists in the first place. We watch tournaments in which you're on a player, and sometimes we contribute in international ways as well. So many fans feel as though it is up to them to help esports grow, to prevent it from dying, and the act of being in a community gives new purpose to the passion. Whether you're trying to help the growth of your particular game or striving forward to professionalism, these aspects keep people extremely invested as time goes on. Competition. The final of aspects of passion that we will talk about today is competition. I'll be splitting up competition in 2 different halves, the competition within the game and the competition outside of it, namely with other esports. Inside the game, competition is a consistent struggle for improvement. It gives people a lot of reason to love the game, but also to become frustrated with it. Watch episode 2 for a discussion about this. Our passion is fueled by the fact that the game is limitlessly difficult. However, I believe it is the competition that we see within and between communities that really keeps people invested in their chosen game. As a community grows and expands, people start getting a sense of the game that they're playing. This becomes a fundamental part of who you are, especially if you've gained friends through the activity. Rather than just playing the game, your deep investment in the game becomes a part of who you are, and here's the line between casual and competitive is drawn. More on this in our casual competitive episode. Now, if you are deriving a large sense of self from esports, we must naturally be worried about the perceived fragility of the industry. You need to look no further than StarCraft to see how people have reacted to a fall from grace, and those same undertones are present in every game, even LoL. We keep hearing things about how successful one particular esport is, or how much money a particular tournament is getting. Praising the success of esports is just the reverse of lamenting its downfall. Establishing sports do not need to boast about their prize pool or the number of leagues that they have. They know that they're not going anywhere, and numbers have almost always come down to the player traits and their individual worth. I've personally not heard somebody boast over the vivacity of the world's most popular sport by quoting Ronaldo's 131 million trade from Manchester United to Real Madrid. But we do, and the perceived fragility makes us all cling to the game more. because we're the forerunners, we're the original fans, and we have the power to make a difference in the following the game. Obviously, this is not true for all fans, and it serves as a cursory explanation of why many people get so passionate about their chosen games. It is not about love for the game that is carrying us forward. It is a combination of community, competition, and wish fulfillment, the underlying tones of insecurity and purpose. As I said, I didn't have this topic planned for this week, but I wrote it because of Dota 2 fans said it was unfair for me to compare basic mechanics or playstyles in Dota to League. While I may agree that I was wrong in initially comparing CSGO and COD, while both FPS games, their mode and playstyle and basic mechanics are very different, Dota 2 shares enough similarities with League to be able to group them in the same genre. The aggressiveness with which the poster chose to word his defense made me think about all the times that I've seen people from the community dump on other games because they felt they were inferior in one way or another. In truth, all of the games we play are great in their own way, and breaking down other games to make ours feel more secure isn't a great way of exploring and furthering our own passion for the game and esports in general. As a final note, please allow for the next couple of videos to be very bare bones in terms of visuals and sound quality. I'm traveling with my girlfriend through Scandinavia and do not have the most high-tech setup to be able to record these videos. At the moment, I'm recording in a stairwell. Starting July 13th, there will be a new video format that will be more entertaining. I'm planning on adding my personal gameplay footage in frame, with liner notes of topic points in the margins. If you have other suggestions, please feel free to contribute. My name has been Shay, and this has been Concept Check. Feel free to like the video and follow me on Twitter. I'm always accepting topics for future shows. Thank you for watching.